These are the most dangerous prisons around the world. Starting off with Rikers Island,
a 413-acre prison island located between the Bronx and Queens in New York City.
This prison has around 6,000 to 10,000 inmates, with more than 80,000 of the people trapped inside not even being convicted of a crime yet. No, I'm not even kidding. And while they wait, they endure straight hell. They sleep on cold, hard floors. They relieve themselves in plastic bags because there aren't enough bathrooms in the damn place. They go days without showers and the smell is unbearable. Those who visit report seeing inmates limping with infected wounds. The kind that should be treated in a hospital but are left to fester in filth. A visitor once saw a random inmate hijack a bus full of prisoners and slam it into a wall. And that's just a random Tuesday at Rikers. The chaos never stops, it only gets worse. Because inside there is a deep-seated culture of violence. Screams are echoing through the walls, but no one is coming to help. In 2013 alone, there were 565 reported incidents of violence against underage male inmates. I said that right, that's teenage kids. 1,057 injuries. That's broken bones, concussions, teeth knocked out. Sometimes it's the inmates who cause it, but most of the time it's the guards. Let's take August 2013 for example. 4 teenage inmates were beaten so badly by the guards that they were crippled for life. They had already been subdued, already cuffed. But it didn't matter, the beatings continued. When the officers were done, they dragged them into a holding pen near the clinic. Then came round 2. DOC gang intelligence officers took over. More kicks, more punches, heads slammed against concrete. When it was over, one inmate had a perforated eardrum. Another had a broken nose, head trauma, chest contusions. Their faces became barely recognizable. Now, the official report was a complete lie. It clearly stated inmates started the fight. Case closed. This is what happens at Rikers. Officers band together, back each other up, even when the truth is staring them straight in the face. Oh, and then there's January 2012. An inmate was getting up after lunch carrying his tray of leftovers to the bin. But then, a correction officer accidentally got splashed with a quote-unquote unknown liquid from his glass. And then she snapped. A random prisoner was flex cuffed being escorted away when she stormed up to him and started swinging. Punch, punch, punch. She beat the kid bloody. That's right, ladies and box heads. Did I mention the inmate was a teenage kid? The woman was relentless. She kept going at it, and she wouldn't stop until another officer pulled her off. Even then, she punched the wall in frustration. The investigating captain called it unnecessary, inappropriate, and excessive. Someone super high up disagreed. Verdict reversed. Apparently, force was necessary, and that was that. But it's not just the physical violence that breaks inmates down. The real nightmare is inside their heads. More than half of the people at Rikers are mentally ill. Some are on suicide watch. But to the guards, that really doesn't matter. One day an inmate was acting up in the dining hall. And by acting up, I mean the poor kid was just having a panic attack. Given the fact, well, his mental health was in complete shambles. The officers didn't like that. They did not like that. An officer tackled him to the ground and started swinging. The inmate curled into a ball, covered his head, and took the punches. He later told investigators, "He punched me everywhere." Bruises covered his body, shoulders, arms, chest, back. His right elbow was even scraped raw. He never fought back, he never even moved. The official report said that the use of force was excessive and avoidable, and yet nothing changed. Seriously, man, it wears on you. The hopelessness, the waiting, of course it does. Take the story of Eileen Marr, who waited 420 days for her trial. She was charged with $75,000 in bail money. And she didn't have that kind of money. And guess what? On top of all of that, she wasn't even remotely guilty. For 420 days, she sat in a cage awaiting trial for a crime she swears she didn't commit. She was assigned to clean the bathrooms. She scrubbed the toilets. A year in, she was cleaning out the bathroom on just another one of her shifts. She went to place a garbage bag inside her freshly cleaned bin, only to realize that someone had thrown out an entire can of noodles into it. And that's where she snapped. She had to get out even if it meant throwing herself under the bus. And just like that, ladies and box heads, she pleaded guilty just to get out, just to breathe air that didn't smell like rot. The corrections officers reminded her daily, "You are not real anymore, you are less than human." That's what they tell all of the inmates. And they meant it. Want to improve yourself? Good luck. Okay. Occasionally a Narcotics Anonymous or AA meetings would pop up. But aside from that, there is nothing to do. You sit, you wait, you rot. The food, if you can even call it that, slimy, gray, unrecognizable. The only real meat is chicken, twice a week, small, dry, and overcooked. But I guess it's something, which is why it becomes currency. Officers turn a blind eye. Some of them hoard the food, trade favors for extra rations. The system is broken. No. Hold on, I take that back. The system is working exactly as they designed. Come on, Rikers Island was never meant to rehabilitate. It was never meant to give second chances. It was meant to break people, and that is exactly what it does. Next up is the Black Dolphin Prison. Now, this is one of the most feared prisons in the world. A place where the worst criminals in Russia are sent to live out the rest of their lives in complete solitude. Located in Orenburg Oblast, Russia. This high-security prison holds 700 of the most notorious murderers, rapists, cannibals, and terrorists. The inmates inside have collectively taken over 3,500 lives. And for my slower box heads, that's an average of 5 murders per prisoner. And once you enter the Black Dolphin, there is no leaving the Black Dolphin. The only way out is in a coffin. Now, new prisoners don't get a soft and gentle introduction. There's an entire ritual that they first need to go through before the worst of it even begins. The moment they arrive, they're blindfolded, handcuffed, and forced into submission. Guards bend them at the waist, their arms are locked behind their backs and raised high. This position completely disorients the inmate, preventing them from seeing their surroundings, stripping them of control. Then comes intake. Prisoners are marched through a narrow corridor where guards beat them, kick them, scream in their ears. Rammstein's Du Hast pounds through the air at ear-splitting volume. It's a loud song full of noise and hate. The goal here is to break them, to make them understand that from this moment onwards, they are nothing but toys for the prison guards. Guards use electrocution as a disciplinary tool. One simple violation can mean your testicles are fried with electric currents. Oh, golly! And your feet beaten until bones crack. Or prisoners are forced into agonizing yoga positions until their muscles spasm, veins burst, and consciousness fades away. Good golly, these Russians really know how to torture their people. Did I just say good golly? Anyways, I've never heard anything like it. One of the worst punishments is the swallow position. Let me show you. Inmates basically have to lie on their stomachs with their arms pulled behind their backs and legs raised, kind of like a human handbag. Held long enough in this position, it becomes unbearable. Okay, so this place also has very cold floors and metal beds. Prisoners spend 23 hours in a day locked in their cells. The tiny room holds a steel bunk, a toilet, and not really anything else. Windows? None. Natural light? Nope. No chance. Surveillance cameras also watch them 24/7. Every 15 minutes, guards come in to check on them. There is no privacy, no moment you go in this place unseen. It's like reality TV except, well, in purgatory. When inmates leave their cells, it is a carefully controlled process to get them around. They are handcuffed, blindfolded, and bent over at the waist. Their arms are raised behind them to prevent resistance. 2 guards escort them, a 3rd walks behind. They are moved around like cargo. I mean, seriously, no opportunity to even plan an escape. Not that anyone has even escaped this place in the past. In fact, movement is so strictly controlled. These guys don't even know the map of their own prison. Meals are meager as you would expect from a place like this. It's always soup and bread, just enough to keep them alive. Inmates must eat in their cells sitting on their steel cots. There is no dining hall, there is no socializing, conversations between prisoners are strictly forbidden. The only voices they can hear are from the guards. And the guards are probably watching a box set video. Anyways, they're probably also hearing demons in their heads. Also, I forgot to mention some prisoners have killed dozens of people. Some have eaten their victims, and some have committed acts of terror that have shook up entire cities. So, with these type of people in this prison, you would expect a history of violence in this place too. There has been 2 times where prisoners have rioted, rebelling against the constant torture. They protested the beatings, the extortion, the way certain inmates were forced to act as enforcers for the, well, administration. These riots all ended the same way, with guards crushing the rebellion, leaving prisoners beaten, bruised, and broken. One inmate, Roman Sarichuv, never even made it out the intake alive. At 32, he had been sentenced for running illegal internet casinos. When he arrived at the Black Dolphin, he barely lasted 3 hours. The guards beat him so badly, his spleen ruptured. He was taken to an operating table, but it was too late. By the next morning, he was dead. When his mother called to check on him, expecting to get his blood results, a clerk simply told her, "Your son is dead." She screamed, she demanded answers, and the prison gave none. The workers at the mortuary said that the body was tossed around like a rubber toy. They couldn't even turn him over. His family saw bruises on his legs, deep round marks. They posted the pictures online hoping the public would see this and demand answers. Months and months later, one guard was held accountable, Maj Sergei Shevtsov. Activists suspect he was not alone in the killing. I mean, they really never are. Another woman came forward and spoke about her son's time in the prison too. They made him run through a line of wardens who kicked and punched him, all while the same heavy metal music blared in the background. The sound was deafening. Boom, bam, fists hitting, boots stomping, metal guitars screaming. One former inmate said that he knew Maj, and he knew him pretty well. He wasn't really the type to discipline or extort money. He and another guard, Smetana, the man said. They just liked beating people, not for any reason, just because they could. Smetana, whose real name was Ivan Marshalko, earned his nickname because it means sour cream. In July 2018, Ivan killed an inmate with a bedsheet. He strangled him until there was nothing left in his lungs. The inmate died, and for that, Ivan got 12 years in prison. Then there was Andrei Yakovov. In 2014, he grabbed a stack of books, thud, and slammed them into the head of a prisoner. Again and again, repeatedly. The man didn't survive. A week later, he died from a brain hemorrhage. Yakovov got 10 years for that, in case you were wondering. Now, ladies and box heads, there were 2,700 deaths at the Black Dolphin just last year. And these funky people will always say that most of them were from natural causes. But everyone knows better. Beatings, torture, it happens all the time. Like I said, it's like a random Tuesday at these places, but that's what's really killing them. Next up, we have the Lasanti prison. Even the deadliest criminals fear ending up in this place. And this prison is in France, possibly the filthiest, vilest place in the entire world. Also, side note, is vilest a word? I don't know. Built in 1867, it holds 1,400 inmates. Today, it crams in over 2,300. Cells that were designed for one man now hold 4. That's 4 men with one stinky toilet. Whew. The walls are covered in peeling paint and black mold. Whoa. Do you want to know the worst part? The prisoners aren't even the only ones that live in this place. The prison is infested with rats, cockroaches, mice. They crawl through the walls, over the beds, and inside the food trays. Inmates stuff clothes into the cracks in their walls, trying to keep them out. But the animals are the least of their problems. Hygiene is just a complete joke in here. Inmates get 2 showers a week, if they're lucky. The communal showers are covered in green mold and the water barely a trickle. Skin infections, as you would imagine, spread pretty damn fast. Everyone at Lasanti itches, one inmate says. Then there's the food. I seriously wish I had a real picture to show you guys because this stuff is really something. Meals are barely edible, portions are small, the weak starve. Some prisoners stash food in their cells to survive. Others fight for scraps. And then there's the ones who just give up and let themselves starve to death. Suicide in this prison is an epidemic. The mitard, which is solitary confinement, is the worst of all. No windows, no fresh air, just a concrete box. The suicide rate in there is 7 times higher than the general prison population. When prisoners get too unruly and start beating each other up, guards don't intervene. They throw in tear gas and let the chaos kind of sort itself out. Violence is a daily ritual: beatings, stabbings, and sexual violence. Some prisoners are forced into slavery by their cellmates. The guards know about this and they do nothing. Some even take part in the slavery system. One time, a prisoner was found trembling in a pool of blood, whispering that the guards did it. He was so horrified he couldn't even say what it was. Dr. Veronique Vassar, the prison's medical officer, keeps a diary. She's seen it all. When she first arrived, she expected hardship, but nothing like this. Nothing in this box world could have prepared her for Lasanti. Within days, she sees things that she couldn't forget. An inmate coughing blood into his hands, his tuberculosis left completely untreated. Another, his skin raw with infection, scratching himself until he bleeds. Prisoners with deep, festering wounds left untreated. All these sick people just expected to go about their daily lives. Then there were those who tried to end it all. She meets a man who swallowed a fork on purpose. Another one drank drain cleaner. One tried to hang himself but only managed to shatter his windpipe, leaving him barely able to whisper or even breathe. She steps into the infirmary, expecting some sort of order, but it's worse than she could even imagine. Cockroaches scurry between medicine bottles. Some are floating in disinfectant. The air smells of sickness and decay. She examines a man with an open wound, only to find maggots having a little party inside. The prison's bandages are old and filthy, barely fit to stop bleeding. She realizes quickly no one is coming to help these men. Lasanti has been forgotten. She moves through the corridors, past cells where men sit in the shadows. Everyone here has a 1,000-yard stare. This isn't just a prison, it's a nightmare. Oh, and if you didn't know, Carlos the Jackal, one of the world's most infamous terrorists, is locked away in here. He carried out a whole series of high-profile assassinations and bombings. Now, he's just another prisoner. At night, he screams, begging for someone to talk to him. Nobody answers. He's just another ghost inside these walls. No one is coming to make a Netflix documentary about him. French-speaking Africans in Block B, North African Arabs in Block C. Prisoners are segregated, divided. Fights break out constantly, as I mentioned. Rust coats and pipes. Layers of paint and plaster crumble from the walls. The place is literally falling apart, and so are the people inside of it. A journalist once visited the prison to see if it's really as bad as it seems. He was pulled aside by a prisoner named Barami. "You saw the chicken on the lunch trolleys?" he whispers. "That's because you're here." He pulls the reporter into his cell and shows him his hidden stash of food. "I'd starve otherwise." And by hiding the food, it's not just the other prisoners he has to keep away. The stash has cockroaches running all over it. "The rats come out at night. I beat them dead with the broom and throw them inside a waste bin." The prison director is a thin, evil-looking man with a mustache named Mr. Jago. When you try to confront him about the horrible conditions at Lasanti, he'll tell you this: prison, by definition, is a place of violence. Some prisoners have been here so long they've forgotten what fresh air feels like. They've never watched a box set video. Some are mentally ill, left to rot without any treatment. Others are addicts, drinking rat poison and cockroach killer just to get a kick. So many of them are actually infected with AIDS. The prison director knows that things could be better. He also knows that there's no money to fix anything. Next up is the ADX Florence prison. This is where all your high-profile, ultra-dangerous celebrity criminals are housed. Opened in 1994, the USP ADX Florence is a supermax prison, meaning it provides a higher level of security than a regular maximum security prison. And by that I mean complete and utter control of the prisoners' every single movement. Prisoners spend nearly all their time in their cells with little to no contact with others. ADX Florence is one of the first examples of this kind of prison, by the way, if you were interested. This place houses some of the most dangerous criminals in the US, including leaders of violent gangs and major terrorist organizations, like those from Al-Qaeda. One of the prisoners at ADX Florence is Zacharias Moussaoui, the only person convicted in civil court for the 9/11 attacks, or Jahar Tsarnaev, responsible for the Boston Marathon bombings. Well, he was transferred there in 2015. Other infamous criminals at the prison include Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, or Richard Reed, the Shoe Bomber. Or what about Terry Nichols, a co-conspirator in the Oklahoma City bombing? And did I forget Eric Rudolph, the Olympic Park bomber, and Robert Hansen, a Soviet spy? The prison currently has 344 inmates, with space for up to 490. For at least the first 3 years, prisoners cannot interact with anyone else. However, good behavior can give them more time outside of their cells, and in super rare cases, they may be transferred to a less secure facility. The outside time is spent in a larger cell with high ceilings, sometimes called the concrete pit, or empty swimming pool. Most of the prison is above ground, except for a tunnel that connects the cell blocks to the lobby. Each Supermax cell has your basic furniture made of concrete: a desk, a stool, and a bed. There's a toilet that shuts off if blocked, a shower with a timer to prevent flooding, a sink with no dangerous tap. The cells are soundproof to prevent any contact between the prisoners, so you can seriously only really hear your own thoughts. And forget talking to the guards, they will not talk to you no matter how hard you try. Each cell has a small 4-inch window if you want to take a look outside, but just so you know, the opening is way too small for inmates to see anything outside properly, making it nearly impossible to plan an escape. There's no mess hall, so you're never gonna meet someone at lunch. Instead, food is delivered to each inmate by the officers. Special delivery with a side of total silence and isolation. ADX Florence even has a program that keeps inmates in their cells for 23 hours a day during the first year. Over time, they're allowed to have more interaction with the other inmates and staff, but you really have to behave to make that happen. In their final year, prisoners can be out of their cells from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and eat meals in the shared dining room instead of having food handed through a slot in the door. But then again, I don't really see Al-Qaeda level criminals getting to their last year in prison anytime soon. So the whole deal is pretty much a sham. Ladies and box heads, this is not a place you want to end up in. If you really want to hear about a place you don't want to end up in, you should hear about the woman that was locked in a box for 7 straight years. No, seriously, this is a real story, and if you want to hear about that, click this video right here. Trust me, it's one of the most sick stories I've ever covered on this channel.